It begins before there was memory, before there were eyes to see or hearts to feel, before even time had learned how to count. A darkness stretched across everything, not the absence of light, but the quiet before it. And then a tremor, not a sound, but a possibility, a spark, bursting from nothing, scattering itself across the newborn universe. That was the first light. It didn't think, it didn't know, but in this brightness, it carried a story, one that would never fade, because light, in its own way, remembers. Every photon that has ever existed, from the first birth of creation to the gleam in your eyes right now, is part of that ancient memory. It moves at the universe's top speed, but it never grows old. A photon does not age, it does not decay, it simply travels endlessly, carrying the moment of its birth like a messenger written in pure energy. And so the story begins. Not with us, not with stars, but with the memory of light itself. The universe remembering what it once was and what it still dreams to be. Chapter 1: The Birth of Memory. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the universe when it was still young, not yet adorned with galaxies or stars, or even atoms, just a vast, shimmering ocean of energy expanding in every direction. In that early dawn, the universe wasn't dark. It was too hot to be anything but light. Photons danced freely, colliding and scattering, filling space with an endless glowing hum. There were no colors then, no shadows, only the bright whisper of existence learning how to be. And then the universe took a breath. As it expanded, it began to cool. From pure energy, matter was born. Protons, electrons, and the first fragile atoms, hydrogen and helium. The alphabet of everything that would ever exist. And as they formed, light, the ancient wanderer, was finally set free. For the first time, photons could move through space without being swallowed by chaos. The universe became transparent. It was the moment when light could travel, unbroken, unforgotten, across billions of years. Those first photons are still traveling. They left their birthplace 13.8 billion years ago. And even now, they pass silently through you, through oceans, through mountains, through the empty rooms of the cosmos. They are the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, the oldest light we can ever see. A message from the beginning still whispering through time. If you could listen to it, truly listen, it would sound like static, like the faint hiss on an old radio. But beneath that noise lies memory, the imprint of the first fire. Every ripple, every variation, is the record of what the universe looked like when it was only 380,000 years old, a mere infant. In that light, we can trace our origins. We can see where galaxies would form, where gravity would gather matter into stars and worlds. It's as if the universe, in its first moments, wrote a diary and then sealed it in light. And here's the most astonishing part: light remembers perfectly. Unlike matter, it doesn't rust, it doesn't decay, it doesn't forget. A photon leaves its birthplace and, unless interrupted, carries its story unchanged forever. Every particle of light that touches your skin tonight may have been traveling since the birth of the cosmos. In that moment, you and the beginning of time meet. That is how the universe remembers itself: through light, through motion, through the endless journey of memory written in speed. We often think memory belongs to the minds, to neurons, to consciousness. But long before minds evolved, the universe already had a way of remembering. Light was its memory, each photon a messenger, each star a scribe. And perhaps that's the quiet truth behind creation: the idea that nothing truly forgets, that even in the silence between galaxies, the light still hums the story of where it's been. So when you look up at the night sky, you aren't looking at distant points of fire. You're looking at memories, billions of years old, still burning with the first language the universe ever spoke. Every star, every shimmer, every glint of cosmic light is a sentence in a story that began long before us and will continue long after we are gone. The story of how light remembers. Chapter 2: The Language of Light. Light has always spoken. We just had to learn how to listen. Every star, every flame, every breath of a nebula sends out waves, ripples in the fabric of space that travel outward forever. But they don't all hum the same tune. Each one has its own signature, its own rhythm, its own color. To the trained eye or the curious heart, light becomes language. It speaks not in words, but in wavelengths, not in letters, but in frequencies. And yet, its messages are clear. This is who I am. This is how hot I burn. This is what I am made of. A star doesn't write its autobiography in ink. It etches it in light. When its photons reach us, millions or billions of years later, they carry secrets from across space. Within their spectrum lies everything: temperature, motion, distance, composition, even mood. Astronomers call it spectroscopy, but you could also call it translation. It's the art of turning starlight into meaning. If you were to spread a star's light into its rainbow, as Newton once did with sun, you'd find not a smooth gradient, but delicate black lines crossing through it. Those lines are like fingerprints. They tell us what atoms lie within that star, which elements are singing in its heart: helium, hydrogen, oxygen, iron, each with its own pitch, its own pattern in the cosmic melody. Through these lines, we learned that the sun and distant stars are made of the same materials, that the universe, in all its immensity, follows the same song sheet, that there is harmony in distance. And beyond chemistry, light also carries memory in motion. When a star moves away from us, its light stretches, its color drifts toward red. When it moves closer, it compresses, sliding toward blue. This is the Doppler effect, and it's how we measure the pulse of the cosmos. From these shifts, we discovered that all the galaxies are moving away, that space itself is expanding, that the universe is still singing the song that began at its birth, a melody of distance, of light, of traveling outward in infinite directions. But even beyond the facts, there is something tender about it. Light does not hurry, it does not rage against distance. It simply goes, steadily, faithfully, carrying its message until someone, somewhere, receives it. It reminds us of letters sent across lifetimes, a postcard from a star long dead, finally reaching your eyes tonight. A whisper from the past saying, I was here, I burned, I existed. And you? You are the witness, the translator of that light. When you gaze at the stars, you're reading memories written in photons, each one older than civilization itself. If you could hear light as sound, the universe would be a great symphony, layers upon layers of tones, each representing an age, a temperature, a heartbeat. The cool glow of ancient galaxies would hum in deep bass notes. Young, hot stars will sing in brilliant treble. Nebulae, clouds of gas and dust, would shimmer like soft harmonies, blending chaos and order. When photons touch your retina, they don't just illuminate, they interact. They trigger chemical reactions, create impulse, stir emotions. Light becomes perception, perception becomes meaning, and meaning becomes memory. That's how the universe remembers itself through you. You are made of atoms once lit by stars, and your eyes are instruments tuned to recognize that light again. In every glance toward the heavens, the cosmos sees itself reflected. So maybe memory isn't something that happens only in brains or data. Maybe memory is woven into the universe, into the way light carries the story of its source. Maybe every glimmer, every flash, every sunrise is just another way of saying, I remember. And perhaps that's the closest thing to eternity we can know. Not endless time, but unbroken remembrance. Chapter 3, When Stars Begin to Remember. Every story in the cosmos, no matter how bright or brief, begins with collapse. Somewhere in the quiet dark of a molecular cloud, vast, cold, and ancient, gravity begins to whisper. Hydrogen atoms floating aimlessly for eons feel that pull and start to gather, slowly, delicately, like dust drawn to breath. They fall inward, closer and closer, until their combined weight ignites a miracle. A star is born. In that first flare of fusion, the universe remembers how to create. Hydrogen atoms merge into helium, releasing light, energy, warmth, and color. This is how the cosmos writes its story, through fire. Each atom that fuses carries the echo of the Big Bang, a continuation of that first light, reshaped, reimagined. It's not new creation, but an awakening of memory. Every star is a child of that original spark, still burning with the instructions of the first explosion. If you could stand inside the heart of a star, though nobody could, you would see memory sculpting matter. Hydrogen, the simplest atom, joins with itself to become helium. Helium fuses into carbon, oxygen, neon. Layer by layer, memory builds structure. The universe remembers itself through chemistry. And that's the quiet beauty of stars. They do not hoard their memories, they give them away. Every second, a star sends billions of photons into space, tiny packets of its own life story, traveling at the speed of truth. These photons will go on for billions of years, even after the star itself is gone. The memory of its existence continues endlessly replayed in the theater of time. But stars remember in more than just light. They remember through transformation. When a massive star grows old, its core becomes heavy with iron, the element it cannot fuse. Its light begins to falter. Gravity, ever patient, reclaims its hold. And in one final act of brilliance, a supernova, the star explodes, scattering everything it has ever created. Gold, silver, carbon, calcium, all the elements that will one day form planets, oceans, bones, and hearts are flung across space. The universe's memories, stored in atoms, are released into the cosmic wind. Some of those atoms drift for billions of years. Some gather again, drawn together by gravity to form new stars, new worlds, new beginnings. And so, the memory continues from one generation of stars to the next. Each star is not a separate entity, but a continuation of those that came before, a cosmic lineage, a family tree written in light. When you look up at the night sky, You're witnessing memory in motion. You're seeing stars that carry the genetic code of the universe. Its light, its heat, its story. Even the atoms in your body, the carbon in your cells, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, were once held in the hearts of long dead stars. You are, quite literally, a memory of light walking. It's easy to forget that. We live surrounded by electric lamps, glowing screens, artificial light. But those are limitations, small echoes of something far more ancient. Every flicker of your candle, every spark in your neurons, every flash of thought is powered by energy that began in a star. Inside you burns the afterglow of creation. You carry the heat of a million suns, diluted, softened, shaped into consciousness. When you breathe, the oxygen you take in was born from fusion. When you bleed, the iron that stains your skin was forged in stellar fire. The universe remembers itself through stars and through you. Now we drift from the hearts of stars to the dust between them, where the fragments of ancient suns begin to gather, forming the seeds of new worlds. Chapter 4: The Memory of Elements. When a star dies, it does not end, it exhales. Its final breath scatters its atoms like pollen, carried on the wind of space. Gold, iron, silicon, carbon, elements born in its burning heart, drift outward, swirling through the black in glittering silence. From a distance, the remnants of a supernova look like a flower blooming in reverse, petals of light unfolding outward into eternity. But what it truly is memory dispersing. The ashes of creation, looking for a new place to begin again. Some of those atoms travel alone, wandering endlessly. Others meet again, drawn together by gravity's patient hand. Clouds of dust and gas gather, heavy with history, dense with potential. And somewhere within them, the memory of light starts to form new shapes. This is how stars give birth to planets, how memory condenses into matter. From these clouds, new suns ignite. Around them, disks of dust swirl, each grain a relic of an older star. Collisions follow, chaos reigns, until tiny worlds begin to coalesce. Pebbles become boulders, boulders become continents, and soon a planet breathes for the first time. Our Earth was born this way, a child of stardust sculpted by memory. The silicon in its rocks, the oxygen in its air, the iron in its core, all of it came from stars that died long before our sun was born. And yet, somehow, through this cycle of death and rebirth, the universe remembered how to build again. Each element carries a trace of its own origin story. You can almost read the timeline of the cosmos written in the periodic table. Hydrogen, the handwriting of the Big Bang. Helium, the breath of newborn stars. carbon and oxygen, the middle chapters, written and fusion, iron and gold, the final words of dying giants. Every element is a memory, every atom is an echo. Together, they form the archive of existence. And when Earth cooled and oceans began to rise, those atoms found new patterns to assemble. Hydrogen bonded with oxygen to make water, a new language for memory to speak in. Carbon joined with nitrogen and phosphorus, the foundation of molecules that could replicate, change, evolve. Light met chemistry, and chemistry began to remember itself. The first cells were the universe experimenting with memory in a new form, one that could adapt. Inside those microscopic bubbles, the laws of physics started to tell a different story. Now memory could respond. Now it could feel. The transition from star to cell was not the end of cosmic memory. It was its continuation, a more intricate way for the universe to keep remembering. Because when DNA first spiraled into existence, it became another script of remembrance, one written not in light, but in life. Every twist of that double helix is an echo of stellar fusion, a record of energy learning to persist through complexity. Think about that. The same elements that once lit galaxies now shape the thoughts behind your eyes. The same atoms that once burned in distant suns now pulse through your veins, forming words, dreams, and love. Your very breath is ancient. Every molecule of air you inhale once drifted through the body of a star. Every element we know, from the salt on your tongue to the gold in your ring, exists because a star once decided to end beautifully. So the next time you see sunlight streaming through your window, pause for a moment. That light is not just illumination, it is recognition. It is memory returning home. The atoms in your body and the photons that warm your skin, they know each other. They have met before, long ago, in the fire of stars that no longer exist. They remember. Now, we arrive at the most beautiful and profound transformations in the story. When light, that silent traveler from the stars, begins to create life. Chapter 6: How Light Becomes Life. Long before we walked beneath the stars, long before there were eyes to see or voices to marvel, light had already found a new way to remember itself. It began not in fire, but in leaves, not in galaxies, but in green. Somewhere in the ocean, shallow, quiet, newborn, a tiny cell learned something miraculous. It learned how to eat sunlight. With a few molecules of pigment and an ancient dance of electrons, that cell discovered photosynthesis, the process of turning light into life. And from that moment, the story of the cosmos changed forever. A photon, traveling for millions of years through space, now found a home in a droplet of water. It touched a pigment molecule, was absorbed, and in that instant, its energy, The same energy forged in a distant star became the spark that built sugars, cells, and futures. Light had become nourishment, and from that first act of photosynthesis, the world bloomed. Oceans filled with microscopic gardens, exhaling oxygen into the air. Land rose, and plants followed, spreading green across continents. Forests became mirrors of the sun, living archives of its warmth, storing light in wood, leaf, and seed. Every tree you see today is a slow memory of sunlight. Every leaf is a page, and every year the earth writes another volume of its solar diary. Even now, when you stand beneath a forest canopy, you are surrounded by ancient photons, captured and transformed, no longer racing through space, but resting in form. You breathe because of them, you live because of them. Light became chemistry, chemistry became metabolism, metabolism became awareness. The same energy that once illuminated nebulae now fuels the pulse of your heart. Every heartbeat is powered by photons trapped in plants, carried through food, turned into motion, thought, warmth. When you lift your hand, the energy that moves your muscles once blazed in the heart of a star. When you smile, the atoms in your face are illuminated by starlight, remembered, refracted, reborn. Every living creature is a pattern of light slowed down by gravity. We are sunlight organized into memory. And just as light carries information about the stars, life carries information about itself. Genes, instincts, experiences. Another layer of the universe's memory. From DNA to consciousness, it's the same pattern, echoing through new forms. Consider this: the photon that nourishes a tree may one day nourish you. You eat the fruit of the plant, and that starlight becomes part of your body. It fuels your thoughts, your emotions, your dreams. You're literally powered by the memory of distant suns. When poets write of the fire within, they are not speaking metaphorically. You are a slow burning star, the continuation of a cosmic flame, cooled, contained, made conscious. But there's more. Life doesn't just receive light, it responds to it, moves toward it, grows with it, learns from it. A sunflower follows the sun's path through the day, its golden face turning toward its parent. Moss glows in dim corners, algae shimmer in the depths, and even in the deepest cave, where sunlight never reaches, echoes of its warmth persist through chemical shadows. Life is not just food, it's direction, a compass for growth, a memory that guides. And eventually, some of that life began to look up, to notice the source of its energy, to feel wonder. Light did not just create life, life is how light continues to exist. Slowed down, thinking, feeling, remembering. The next time you see your reflection in water, look closely. That shimmer is a photon that has touched both the sky and your face. Two memories meeting in a single moment of awareness. That is how light becomes life, and how life becomes remembrance. Chapter 7, How We Carry the Memory of Stars. If you think about it, memory is the most mysterious form of light. It doesn't shine, yet it illuminates everything you are. It lives not in the sky, but behind your eyes, in flashes, in feelings, in the soft glow of a thought. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture the faces you've loved, the places you've stood, the moments that made you who you are. Each image appears like a small constellation in your mind, flickers of electrical current traveling through a network of neurons, tiny pulses of energy carrying stories, sensations, and time. That electricity, that light, is the same light born from stars. Your brain, in its silence, glows. Each memory is a microscopic spark, a photon's echo trapped in organic matter. Neurons communicate using electrical impulses, bursts of energy traveling faster than thought, creating patterns that shape who you are. When you remember, you are reassembling light. You are retracing the paths energy has taken through your life, how it entered your senses, moved through your nerves, became emotion, and stayed. The sunlight that touched your skin as a child may no longer exist, but its warmth, its sensation, its meaning still lives in your memory. You have become its archive. You are the universe's way of remembering the light it once sent out. Think of how memory works. A smell can take you back decades. A song can resurrect an entire era. A single photograph can collapse time, letting you exist in multiple moments at once. Isn't that what light does too? When you look at a star, you're seeing it not as it is now, but as it once was. You're witnessing its past in the present. Every starlit night is an act of remembrance, the sky itself recalling its own history. Human memory is simply the same cosmic principle, reborn in biology. Our neurons are made of carbon, nitrogen, calcium, all elements forged in stars. The impulses that travel through them are energy, once radiated from suns that no longer exist. When you recall something, you are a star remembering its light. And yet, memory is not perfect. It fades, blurs, reshapes itself, just as the light from distant galaxies stretches and reddens as the universe expands. Even our forgetfulness is cosmic. Entropy touches everything, even thought. But that doesn't mean it's lost, only transformed. Some memories become stories, stories become culture, culture becomes collective remembrance, a shared light that keeps shining long after individual minds fade. In that sense, humanity itself is a constellation of memory, billions of lives connected by invisible threads of meaning, all glowing together in the dark. We pass knowledge like photons, word to word, book to book, mind to mind, each transfer carrying a fragment of what it means to be alive. And so, even as generations come and go, the light continues. The first human who looked up at the night sky, wondering what those points of fire were, their thought still lives within us. Their curiosity, that sense of awe, that whisper of why, it never died. It was passed down, refined, expanded, until now we can trace it to its source. You are that ancient question, still unfolding. The cosmos doesn't forget. It simply evolves new ways to remember. Atoms became stars. Stars became planets. Planets became life. Life became mind. And mind became memory. And now, when you look at the stars, it's not just you remembering them, it's them remembering through you. Every time you imagine, dream, create, or love, you are continuing the work of the universe. You're giving light new ways to exist, new patterns to take, new memories to make. Because love, too, is a form of memory, the persistence of light between two beings. It is energy that doesn't fade even when distance grows. It is a way the universe keeps its warmth alive, even in the coldness of time. So the next time you close your eyes and see the faces of those you lost, don't think of it as imagination. Think of it as light remembering its way home. Because everything you've ever felt, every joy, every sorrow, every heartbeat, it's energy borrowed from the stars. And one day, when you are gone, that energy will return to them. You are a temporary shape made of permanent light. You are the continuation of memory that began before the first dawn. You are how the stars keep remembering. It always returns to silence, not emptiness, but a silence so full it hums. Somewhere between the space of a breath and the stretch of a galaxy, the universe is remembering itself, not through words or time or reason, but through being. Light never stops. Even now, as you listen, photons are traveling from stars you will never see, crossing oceans of space to touch your world. They slide through the atmosphere, through leaves, through skin. Some end their journeys inside you, absorbed, transformed, stored as warmth or thought. The universe, in that instant, remembers you back. Every heartbeat is a flicker of that exchange, energy folding into form, form unfolding into energy again. You're not apart from this. You are the bridge between starlight and story. You are how the cosmos dreams in first person. Think of everything you've ever loved. The warmth of sunlight on your face, the way moonlight settles on water, the shimmer in someone's eyes when they laugh. Those are not coincidences of chemistry. They are acts of recognition, light meeting itself again, in a new shape, in a new moment. We often wonder what happens when we die, when our bodies fade, when our memories dissolve into the dark. But perhaps nothing truly ends. Perhaps everything simply changes its way of remembering. The light that fuels your life will one day return to the stars. The atoms in your skin will drift back into clouds of dust, waiting to ignite again. And the love you've given, the warmth, the kindness, the awe, will ripple outward, subtle as radiation, infinite as possibility. Even when no one remembers your name, the universe will, because you were made of it. You were never separate. Every thought you've ever had has bent the universe, even if only slightly. Every dream you have dared has rearranged the dance of atoms, if only by a breath. And in that subtle rearrangement lies meaning, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't fade. Somewhere, billions of years from now, a photon may still be carrying the echo of this moment, the vibration of your voice, the warmth of your existence, out into the deep. And maybe on the other side of time, something will catch it. And for the briefest instant, it will remember. Because the universe never stops keeping memories. It writes them in light, stores them in motion, and speaks them in silence. Every beginning leaves a trace. Every ending leaves a glow. So tonight, when you step outside and look up, stop for a moment. Feel the cold air. Listen to the quiet hum between the stars. You are standing inside a memory older than creation itself. A memory that is still unfolding, still breathing, still learning how to love itself through you. The stars remember, the atoms remember, the light remembers. And somewhere deep inside, so do you. Because you are made of memory, condensed, luminous, alive. You are the story light has been telling for billions of years. And long after you're gone, that story will continue, written in photons, whispered across time, sung by the universe to itself. The universe is not a place, it is a memory, vast, luminous, eternal. And every time you look up at the night sky, it looks back. Nothing truly fades. Everything simply becomes light again.